Okay, sorry. That was probably not the best way to introduce this video, but the backrooms absolutely make me upset. And here's the reason why they make me upset. The original concept idea for this, right, as just a weird Reddit 4chan throwaway, ooh, spooky thing, it was actually a really good idea of you're stuck in quote unquote the backrooms. There is no way out. It's just never ending tacky yellow wallpaper, abandoned office stuff. There's no monsters or there's no nothing, but there's no food or water either. It's just you alone wandering through the endlessness. I'm gonna let you know right now, that is infinitely more terrifying, is because human beings are not really designed to be alone. Especially in a space where there is very limited noise, your mind will begin to make up all kinds of wild and fanatical things. It'll start to imagine hearing voices that aren't even there because it needs to imagine that there are more people. You'll start seeing things that aren't really real. And the buzzing of those overhead lights will start to grate on your nerves and they'll start to get louder. That by itself as a horror concept, oh man, it sounded so good, so terrifying. And then people had to ruin it, right? No offense, right? At the original, the first Backrooms video of just the guy being pushed by the walking stapler? I honestly don't know what it is, or assuming it's even a monster. But, right, I gotta really explain this. But that was more of a one-hand offshoot, and now people have just made it infinitely weirder. I understand it is a fun sandbox to play in, but adding all these extra rooms, adding all these extra monsters, all this extra lore and detail that realistically doesn't do anything makes it weird to me. It's becoming more like Five Nights at Freddy's, where was there lore in that? Kind of. It was a barely there backdrop for the original game, and then it just spawned into something so much bigger than I think what was supposed to be intended for. Scott Coffin was fucking with you. That is what I'm trying to say. But the backrooms are falling into the same thing, and that's really the fastest way for me to get disinterested in something, is where there's minimal to little lore, which makes the mystery and suspense of it so much more engaging, and then people keep adding stuff and putting extra stuff in and extra details, but consider this is and enough. You're trying to build upon something and make it your own thing. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, right? That is not what I am saying. I am specifically saying that the back rooms have become so much more complex and complicated than they absolutely need to be. The original concept of just you wandering around alone with no other human interaction for days on end is more terrifying, because even if you fell through with a water bottle, right, being really generous, a full water bottle, and there is no more water to sustain you, that would have been more interesting, because a human body can go a whole hell of a long time without food before it really starts to feel the effects of it. A human body can't go without water for too long. So you're basically on the clock of find more water before you dehydrate to death. That's more interesting. That's always going to be more interesting as a backrooms concept. I don't give a fuck about the monsters. It makes it less scary if I know that there is possibly an exit I could find. It takes away the suspense. And somebody sat there when I explained this to them and said, the backrooms are infinitely large. I was like, but there is an exit. And there are monsters in here. And there's just weird stuff being added all the time. Realistically, I'm probably gonna find another water bottle if I look around hard enough. Number one. Number two, if I can glitch in and out at any time, do you know how much of an abuse of power that would be if you had a person that could realistically just hop in and out all the time because they wanted to get out of stuff? It would be amazing. Counterpoint to this, right? Because I know that over on Film Theory, they like to cover the backrooms a lot, right? No shade or anything like that towards MatPat. I have no ill will towards him. He's great. The fact that they are putting together from the YouTuber, right, that keeps uploading these, honestly, well done, backrooms, leak videos that they find from this fake, government agency, that's great. I guess I should explain that better. The guy who's doing the backrooms videos that are like the fake documentary style stuff, I have no ill will towards him. Man, that is a lot of skill, patience, and time that is being invested into this, and I have no ill will towards him. Good on him. You've made something that's taken the internet by storm. What I mean is, all these, like, fan games, all these wild TikToks and all this other stuff, it makes me upset is because, hey guys, yous are just adding your own weird your own weird creepy, like, creepypasta into this because you just don't have anything. Which, for the record, it's not bad. People can springboard into their own creativity anytime they want. But it's beginning to get annoying is because now I have to, if I want to talk to somebody about the backrooms, like, in general, I have to sit through a 30-hour TikTok seminar, TED Talk, of all this stuff that isn't even canon from the original guy that's making these backrooms logs. What are you talking about? This is fan fiction being hailed as legitimate, like, gospel. That makes no sense. So, to recap really quick, the guy who's making the original, like, super secret government documentary of the backrooms, no ill will nor shade towards him. Good on him for making this. Everybody else that keeps piggybacking off of this and adding their own fucking levels and rooms and monsters and how to defeat the monsters, just make your own damn, like, sandbox at that point. You're making it weird. And again, right, I know this is a me thing, but I absolutely despise when something has very limited lore and then all of a sudden, there's so much lore that it's like, I feel like I'm about to be quizzed on this. And I don't like when I have to feel like I'm about to be quizzed. It bothers me. It bothers me a lot. Now, this is a me personal thing, right? And Celestial, the editor, because we were talking about this for a little bit, he made a point to me. He goes, a lot of people that hyperfixate on stuff, they do this. And I was like, so like the Five Nights at Freddy's thing. He goes, right. They hyperfixated on it and wanted it to be more meaningful than it probably was, or they were reading more into it than probably was there, and now everybody's bandwagoning off that. And I was like, okay, I guess so. What I mean by me being upset is that it makes no sense from a narrative viewpoint for it, because it takes away the scariness. And, okay, I have to probably backtrack. Let me tangent backtrack on this a little bit. When I say that the backrooms having an obvious exit and, like, there's a way to defeat the monsters makes me mad is because it takes away the suspense of that particular franchise. Now, the reason why it works well in, like, horror movies a la Saw, or, like, that new Ethan Hawke horror movie that I tried really hard to watch it and I just couldn't because I was like, your camera angles are janky, man. It's making my eyes hurt. The reason why it works there is because human error tends to come into play. And the reason why I say human error tends to come into play is because you're now on the clock to get out. The exit is right there, right in the Saw movies. It's right there. You can get out anytime you want. The linchpin of this is you're on the clock to get out, which is like, oh no, now you have a time limit, so you have to get out. The reason why this doesn't work in the backrooms is because, one, there's no crazy guy that put me in here that's making me go through this. I was stupid enough to get here on my own. But number two, there's no time limit. Realistically, you could just wander like a high person through Walmart through the back rooms and still find the exit. And when somebody was like, no, but the monsters, I'm like, you notice that the monsters in these, when they put them in here, other than the walking stapler from like the very first backrooms video, tends to be easily defeated. Like that one backrooms fan-made thing where it's like, shh, be quiet, you're dead. Okay, then I guess I'll get really good at throwing my voice. So that way I can make this thing go chasing sounds that aren't even there. And that isn't even really, I consider it a backrooms thing. I feel like this was a never-ending purgatory for a child murderer. Like, that's all I took that as. A never-ending hell for the guy who killed that little boy for absolutely no reason. That's it. That's all it was. It just happened to have the backrooms slapped onto it because it makes it a little bit more creepy. Does it? I honestly don't think so. I feel like it's just, you're going through hell, friend. But the actual back rooms of there's monsters, but you can easily defeat them. There's an exit if you can find it. And I'm not on a time limit for this? Correct, you are not on a time limit. Cool, I'm gonna wander around and start graffitiing shit if I find something to draw with. Because you've taken out the suspense of it. You've taken out the fear factor of it. And when people are like, what about the monsters that you don't know how to defeat? Considering all of these things seem to have 0 eyes and are only auditory based, okay. I grew up in a very quiet household. I know how to shut the hell up real fast. And walk really lightly on my feet because, don't want to wake people up who have to get up early as fuck in the morning. That's why. But again, this is all me personal stuff. I don't know if this bothers anybody else. It might not bother anybody except me. I might be the one person in the internet who just absolutely despises the back rooms now. And that's fine. But I want to put that out there. It's like, you want to make really good horror, but you want to make it to where, yeah, they can get out. There's an exit right there. Time them. Because when you put humans on a timer, all of a sudden, everything has to be done right now, immediately. When you make it to where the exit is just, it moves, you have to find it on your own, but you're not on a timer. Cool, I'm going to take the tour of Italy approach then. I'm going to just wander around, find stuff that's going to be useful, then all that other jazz. Because you've taken out the scariness of it. Which I guess I understand from the viewpoint of you don't want to make it scary, you want to make it more fun. Like Five Nights at Freddy's, right? There's a way to win and save the kids and all this other jazz. But it feels hollow to me. So that's more of a me thing. I don't know if it's gonna resonate with other people, but that is more of a me thing. So realistically, I liked the back rooms when it was more of a can you get out of it maze? No. There once you go in, there is no way out, and nobody's coming to save you. That's what made it really fun and exciting and interesting to me, and now I find it absolutely bothersome is because people keep making new stuff and I can't even be invested into it. That's all I've got for today. Thank you so much for showing up. Bye.